Thank you so much, everyone. I think it's better to start with your questions and reading group at first for like 1 hour, and then everybody please introduce yourself and your projects and how you are relating to the text and how you are seeing this, and if you have a bird in relation to the project. Okay, make sense?
Mhm.
We are going to continue this project through the General Intelligence Modeling Unit, and also it's part of Intelligence Love Revolution, continuation of Intelligence Love Revolution, and connecting to the bigger frameworks for ecology. So that was something I was talking to Irfan. Also here we're talking about for laboratory ecology, post-human ecology, post-human spirituality, post-human ethics, and um, post-human agents. When we are working on the Red Intellect project, you can also consider this kind of framework for post-human models. The post-human model it means model for post-human as a model, not necessarily post-humanism, you know. So then we are, yeah. So this text is, in that sense, is important because also we are working with big toy models, and we are working with like the general intelligence. You know, we are like when we are talking about like general intelligence, big toy models, computational paradigms. We're dealing with scales, different forms of scales that at the same time, although we are in relation with them, it's unaccessible to us, you know. And there is a this discontinuity between these levels, uh, which still is part of our understandings, and we can see it through this kind of story that like Suhrawardi is talking about, which is like forming, which is real philosophy at the same time, is talking about like navigation between this kind of different scales, you know, as we're talking about the scales like sea morphs coming down, descending, you know, they're like at the levels of cosmology, or even like when we are talking about the spring, right? So like could be think about like divine or like even Platonic forms, you know. So it's not like we see like this world contain many different levels and forms of even we can call world, that they're intertwined, right? So there's so much to learn from these stories. And before that, I want to pay attribution and respect to Suhrawardi and Shams. And I'm thinking that Suhrawardi Falcon is one of us, as we are each freeing ourselves birds. It's part of also Suhrawardi's freedom with us. We want to make, uh, we want to learn from Falcon to navigate with and through red intellect. Okay. I understand that mostly neither of us have enough experience with this in this sort of tradition. Mostly, at least I'm talking about myself, never know enough. We want to be careful and to keep the integrity of their works. I guess so that's obvious. So also, I'm seeking advice and guidance from two master instructors, Shamsa Tabriz and Suhrawardi, for our project with open heart and respect, appreciation for both Shams and Suhrawardi, who both also have been executed and murdered because of their groundbreaking works. I show respect to Suhrawardi and Shams and asking them for their permission and guidance for this project and for everyone. So I don't know if it makes sense to you, but I felt to write something like that. Okay. Is there any question from me? Otherwise, I can share a screen share from, and that the reason I named Shams was because I wanted to share his work here about helping how to read the text. So, if there is if you have a question, please ask me the question, then I can share Shams' quotes.
I think that Sepideh, you already have at least begun to answer the question concerning um, why the bird was only visible within the mirrored reflection. And
Right.
I guess we're also going to talk about this generative sense of remainder or incompleteness as well. I think you've already addressed those. Those were really my primary two questions, only as well whether you believe that the impossibility of precise repetition or doubling in Deleuze's concept of the fold is um, um, a helpful way of conceiving of this allegory.
I definitely see the repetition, difference and repetition, because as you see the who's talking to? Sorry, forgot. When the red-haired person talking to the falcon, right, is saying that there are many Seymour, so it's actually implying that there might be different Seymour, but it's like repeating, right? They keep descending different ones.
Yeah, I was really fascinated by the ambiguity and somehow as well, I was thinking in a way of Plotinus and this kind of emanationism, Plotinus's Neoplatonism as well. This kind of relationship between the metaphysical world and the earth within the story, and the way that there seem to be things sort of cascading between them.
Yes, like I think the earth doesn't exist in the like we don't have earth everywhere, because where we have the uh mountains, they might not be earth, you know what I mean? I think when it says that when it's talking about the descent of the phoenix, and then it goes through the 12 workshops, right? As it's descending. And then in the 12 workshop, they have some fields. And the fields are where they catch the falcon. So basically, those fields within the 12 workshops at which they're being attributed to one of those workshops. How do they call them? Instructors or something, or math? I don't know. The people who have the workshops. So they have fields and they catch the falcon inside of the field. You know how this world is like made. A lot of it is basically like mathematical, like through this part is mathematical. The other parts are like also, I think they're yeah. You know what I
Yeah, it seems like there's some kind of offset process by which also the chains and the chainmail are enmeshed as
yeah,
well.
yeah. And repetition is very important. Imagine the guy who's talking to the person, to the Suhrawardi, Akam Suhrawardi and Falcon. Okay. So the guy who's talking to Suhrawardi is have white hair, same as Zal has white hair. Zal born with white. So you see the repetition, and then it says, "I'm the uh, first ch child of creation," something like that. So also is the first child of creation, and then you see it's already, and then becomes Zal, and then maybe not, but there is repetition actually very important because at the same time they say Zal was born under the gaze of two by three, right? So, so this makes sense that this is talking about the same person as the first, because it's like being born under the two by three is like something to take for granted because two by three is not part of, I don't know, it's just something very important, this story, you know.
I think that struck me with the David's chainmail is the link with the sword, how the sword was going because he just start to build this whole like architectural geometry, and then they present the concept of the sword that slashed through everything, and I found it that there was a metaphysical access to truth, maybe truth as light, because then you the sword that slashed through everything, but there's this finite thing that you can do. So you're not slashed through the sword, so you're like ejected from the construct in some way, or
Right.
you can slide off.
Yes, 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 that's very important. That's actually exists in shamanic traditions,
Mhm.
like they're like mm, doing a lot of like practice to erase their history. So when that thing, actually their thing is very interesting, is is a bird. I guess it's like a really big bird, like it's one of the story that I know. Okay, it's like a eagle on top, but they see it as eagle because it's all dark and sending some radiation and weird things. So the shamans, when they see this, they see it as, they describe it as eagle, but it's not eagle. And then when they want to, they have to get rid of everything. That's because That thing, that eagle is like when they die, it's like taking everything that given to them back, and they're like kind of like a cocoon, inside of those things that the eagle gave them. So while eagle is taking the thing, open the cocoon and eating them, you know. So that's how they die actually. That's when they die. So they try to
Mm.
remove all of their history and stuff. So when the eagle wants to take, they doesn't see them. So they just like pass the eagle.
Yeah. Nice.
So this is, but something I felt when I read that thing was actually something uh, about the sword. After that, I want everybody to think about what they thought about the sword. This is what I thought. Mm, I thought that monads, right? So when the monads are create, like for example, a horse, okay, going through kind of configuration for the monads to mm, like we can't say that the monads exist, right? Even talking about the fold, right? That's actually good to talk about. We can say monads exist in a specific space. So don't think about it as a space. But they're in a kind of a configuration that actually we have a horse, okay? So this configuration is in, excuse me, let me let this first. This configuration is inferential, like a specific configuration, make a horse, okay? But there is a differential relation between these monads, okay? That actually is like being used and then becoming less and less and less in like an infinitesimal border towards zero, okay? And then after it gets to a specific point, it gets exploded. It gets like, I don't know how to say it, disjointed from each other, the monads. So the monads don't disappear, but they're not as in that thing. So this reminded me also when it was talking about how this thing is like this configuration come to this point, at the end is open, go to the what is it? Hold the neck of the something open, right? Become something, and then at the same time it says after a while it just gets like that, and then need that thing to just uh, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, hi, Sepideh and
Hi.
everyone. Actually, my question is like, if we want to read this text as a kind of metaphysical text or something like quantum physics, you know what I mean? Because when you're talking about configuration and repetition of this, like characters, I see not the person, more characters, in this text. And I was thinking that if we look at it as a kind of from the quantum physics perspective in the different, like um, situations and conditions.
Yeah,
How,
something that it's a very good question. So I answer your question in two sections. Okay. First time I say something and then you let me know what you think. Okay. The first part is that's exactly what I want you to do, but I don't want you to read Suhrawardi's text as quantum physics. I want to make your own quantum physics model as you learning from Suhrawardi. That's what I'm saying. Make your own bird, make your own world, you know. Does it make sense?
totally, yes, I get it. Thank you.
Because that's the point that I'm like saying that that have to be careful a little bit, I don't have worry about sort of I cannot handle a story cannot handle. But at the same time, we have to be careful because Suhrawardi died before I can say everything, you know, and we have to learn from Suhrawardi, you
The
know.
text is there, you're reading the text.
We can't say Suhrawardi is like a quantum, you know.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. So this was the first part. What was your second question? About the quantum party. Okay, let's talk about that. Yeah, I think you can create some kind of that's the whole point of this class, that if you come up with something like this, that you just come up, oh my God, this I like this quantum thing. Think about it as a project that you want to arrive to a performance. Okay, that's why I want to give you all the next we're gonna send you the more text about diagramming and just gestures. Okay, I want you to think about the gestures because we are dealing in that kind of a space right now. Okay, we're dealing in a space that is dynamic. Not everything can be captured, but can be navigated. Okay, so when we are doing this kind of navigation, the tool diagramming works, but at the same time, it's talking about what it means to also can use gestures. So that actually I'm saying can be helping you when you read that text. You figure out what I'm saying? To create some kind of a performance. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Research performance, like because our research maybe can perform in a unusual way, you know, even like maybe Suhrawardi suddenly wrote something like that. It was unusual, it's like a performance, you know. So something like that. So let's see where that goes, but with your own, like selection of your own bird, you know, like how that bird can do those things that you're talking about in your world. Hmm? Makes sense? That's a project that we're doing right now, basically.
Thanks.
Hmm.
Can we go back to the difference between darkness and blackness, and maybe to the opposition with the light and the infralight, which is the red? I would like to hear you about how I have my own interpretation, but maybe we can discuss it because it's highly visual, but at the same time, it seems that vision is so much more than simply vision. So
Yes, yes, sure. So we have to understand, like when we are talking about like something like philosophy, back to the question about fault. Okay, I really want to go back to that question about fault many times, and I hope you help me to expand on it. We were talking about the question of plane of immanence, right? When we talk about the plane of immanence, we have like an n-dimensional plane, n plus one n-dimensional plane. Okay, why is plus one? Because anything you pick outside fall into, you cannot go outside of it. So any plus one falls into it, right? N plus one. But it doesn't mean that it's flat, you know? It has it's like has a lot of like if you look at it as like some kind of uh function, it also has like a limit functions that is like on like imagine like go to unlimit, you know? It's like unlimited at the same time. So Suhrawardi, of course, not going to not going to work with anything less than that. You know, nobody wants to work with anything less than that. So, but the thing is, like when you work with something like plane of immanence, you cannot get out of it. It's just stuck in there. Like, how can you get out of it? So that's a good question, right? But right now, we see Suhrawardi is not working with plane of immanence. But
Would it,
Suhrawardi is working at least with something that I just want to tell you how much this dimension and degree of thing we have inside of something like a plane that we are building our philosophical mind.
Wouldn't that be something that binds the sparrow? Like as you said, because in Wikipedia, the n-dimensional plane is an hyperplane, and I relate to that very much. But wouldn't
Yeah.
that be also a prison? Because you cannot get out of it because there's no end to it. It's some kind
Okay,
of an empty prison.
okay. I can explain this, but it's not Suhrawardi, okay?
Hmm.
That what I'm saying is not Suhrawardi. Please don't get confused. Just let's stop Suhrawardi somewhere else. Okay, talking about this plane of immanence. No. Plane of immanence is like for example, in the lose, right? First we have like just first you have to listen to me to go to end. Then come. First we have the plane of immanence, okay? Then we have plane of consistency, okay?
Mhm.
Plane of organization. Then we have, oh my God, of course. Then we have plane of organization. Then we have stratas along with holy spaces. Holy means holes, right? And then what and then we have the body without the organ, under the strata in relation to the plane of consistency and plane of organization. So it's like what I'm saying, like you see, even like as a becoming of a material, from plane of immanence to levels of earth, a strata where like later you can build the socius on it, like different types of human organizations and stuff. But you see, it's not like a one-to-one connection. You go from plane of immanence to plane of consistency. When you have every possible code and possibility in in some form, inside of that plane. But in plane of immanence, all you have is intensity,
Hmm.
pure intensity, but different degree of intensity,
Yeah, isn't that like the workshop you're describing? Like this scaffolding of organizing that
This is
you.
not. This is written in uh, 1,000 plateau. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Uh, I might make a mistake because I wasn't prepared for this, but I'm just saying that the way that plane of immanence is being coming into the material, going through something like this kind of levels.
Hmm.
Okay. But this is not material. When we talk about fold, we are not talking about material. We're talking about subject. How the subject is being created from this plane of immanence to the material, right? Where is it coming from? The fold is actually, it means like in the plane of immanence, there is like some kind of a fold like this that actually creates some kind of a, I don't know what you call it, stuff like this.
Oh my
And
God.
like a fold, like fold is like this.
Hmm.
Okay, let me try like this, right? And then it becomes like this, plane of immanence, right? In that position. And then you have a space like this. you know, like
Hmm.
this. Yeah. Okay, so this is like a diagram for fold,
Okay.
which is right. Can you, Isaac, please help me?
I've also seen somebody basically take a flat piece of paper and fold it into a Mobius and then ask me to trace a line and then flatten it again and show me where I missed the line as well.
Yeah,
What's
but
interesting,
yeah.
if you also cut the Mobius and then try to rejoin it. Sorry, Sepideh.
Okay, so talking about the fall in the metaphysical plane, you know, which is those guys talking about in the plane of immanence.
Yeah, thanks.
But I don't think. Oh, I just want to talk about this to see how this world, like when we're talking about like plane of metaphysics and this kind of thing, how intense it is and how it contains a lot of different, again, like separate layers working together, like any system, right? So Suhrawardi, like when we were talking about the light and dark, I wanted to answer that you have to understand when he's talking about light and dark, he's talking about that terms of metaphysical intensity, degree, and magnitude, that when we are talking about this degree, you know, as we are descending into different degrees of intensity, which we cannot even understand. How can we? That's actually that's why I'm using, one of the reasons I'm using this text, because you can experience it with somebody like Sohrawardi, who can go through that, you know, or Shams, who can, because we are like a Kantian people, we are like dealing with a state of zero state, empty in terms of intensity, you know, empty.
Hmm.
You know, emptiness doesn't mean that there is no substance. It means substance is zero, you know, using the substance zero in that section. That's why it keeps giving error, because it still has a substance, you know, but Kant is using the substance zero to make the object empty, you know. And it's like, da-da-da, we're done with the metaphysics. But am I done about that? Okay.
Since we're talking about the darkness in relation to light, and you had mentioned the red figure before, I was puzzling over that. The assertion that darkness plus light equals red as opposed to gray. There seemed to be a concern again and again with optics as well, the metaphor of the bowl in relation to the tuba tree, and different perceptions that occur with different perspectives. So in a way, the assertion of the red as being a mix of those two seems to have some kind of symbolic, as opposed to quantitative, relevance. I guess I was wondering if in the author's broader body of work, are there more assertions about redness? What is the significance of the red?
Okay, maybe that's something really good to think about more. You know, I don't think I am, or even our workshop is at the place that anybody want to signify what it means exactly, you know. But as a question, I can think about it and give you some answer. Okay, but it doesn't mean that I know or it should be this. Yeah, for example, like if you pay attention, I'm just saying, but I remember. So if you pay attention, the old guy, I call him old guy. Okay, old guy says, I am captive. First, it says, I am light, right? Light. And then it says, I'm captive in the bottom of a whale. The bottom of a whale. It's very important.
Hmm.
Okay, so imagine in the bottom of the whale, in the end of descent of, what was that thing? Simorgh, right? End, like where the at the end, the guy says, just go to the end of the darkness, go look, just die, go to the worst thing, and then you see the light, the what is it? A spring of light, right? Do you remember? This guy is he's like captured in there somewhere, okay?
Hmm.
In the bottom of a whale, okay? Now remember this. It says where you find a spring. It says there is a direct light from top to bottom on it. It's like a light, what is it? Like a spotlight on the, and this guy saying I was on the bottom of the whale. There is a spotlight on top. In the, when you see a whale, you see a sun on top, in the bottom. So this seems like I'm feeling this guy somehow is like relating to that light in the bottom of the whale, which is the spring of, what do you call it? A spring of life, something like that. And then because it's there, imagine you have a light and then you have this different intensity of darkness. It's not dark, it's dense. It has same way that you have like a light and it turns like really hot. The darkness also have intensity, it can get something. So when this light is like going like this through this in different, it turns red.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was thinking that because the man says, I'm not young. You see my like bird and things red. And I was thinking that maybe it talks more about the positionality, like that this is you that see me like this, and then the appearance. So I was thinking that maybe we can, see this from that perspective.
Yeah, but you need to pay attention. It says the redness is when the light of fire go through smoke, go through some smoke. Smoke has a presence, So there is like some kind of materiality or um that somehow can relate also to the concept of che- alchemy,
Hmm.
like where you have like colors, but these colors are alchemical. Like the light is not just like a light we see. It's like the light that also has alchemy, has algebra, has physics, physics, quantum. Uh, so some of this are okay coming from this kind of tradition, and we see it's we have to consider it, you know. So don't. That's exactly I want to say when what Shams is saying. Is saying, okay, just let me just read it. It said when you fall. I don't want to share a screen anymore. I just want to read this one. It said when falling into the sea and cannot swim. Oh, I lost my thing. Cannot swim, be dead, so water may carry you upon its head or crest. Like we need to admit we don't know how to swim in this thing. And we just like accept it and let the ocean carry us on it. You know what I mean? Like this kind of reading, like it's just yeah, we don't know. Like we just learn something from this. So it just it has to a little bit release because you cannot keep trying to attach to a stuff in the ocean, you know? It take it away from you. But then when you learn how to swim, no, you can't. You just have to dive and then carry you, you know? That's like even in the at the end you go when you go to that Balarak, the sword. Why the sword doesn't work on you? Because you're already dead.
As we're talking about the space between the flame and the smoke as a redness, I mean, I guess in a way, maybe the redness is like the color of indeterminacy or liminality, like some kind of visibility of a gap between night and day, between smoke and fire. Could be one way of reading it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Talking about like dawn and evening, like sunset and sunrise. That's very important. Sunset and sunrise. The amount of importance that not reading it sort of I just think about how much sun is important in philosophy, even with Plato. And what does it mean, like, if you connect this with Plato, sunset, sunrise, connected to your quantum project, you know? What does it mean? Not that
And
everything need to connect, you know, but does it, you have to see, don't, like, when we are like, we need to seek understanding in relation to something that we are, you know, like we cannot just understand what this thing is in itself, you know, because we don't know, because Suhrawardi wrote something like 800 years ago, you know. We don't know what, like we cannot, we should not be after exactly what it means, you know. We should be after like what it does to us, or how this can help us, you know. Because I think it's misguided if I really go, oh, this is this, just end the story.
But is it not like the wisdom in it that each individual must represent the bird inside their own bird nest and then access this kind of modularity to complete the simmerg, but without explaining it. If we fight with meaning, we won't drown the sea because still looking for meaning is like continuing to swim because you always try to put in the world your comprehension, but maybe we have to live the comprehension of wisdom without always like giving it back to the world. It's like antithetic in some sense.
Like experience, you know, it's experience. because we have to understand we don't experience like this, you know? It's not a normal experience, but it is an experience. You know, we don't know what it is. That's why we should not like, okay, for example, I'm just saying something that why I keep like oh a little bit like this because these people are like shamans, they're like really experiencing something different, you know? We have to understand we should not really try to understand what they're saying because what they're saying is relating to their experience also, and we have to understand like birds talking to each other, you know, the bird uh okay do you guys want me to talk more or you just start talking about your own projects?
At the moment, it's really very windy where I live in London. And I'm very worried about the birds being able to stay safe on the ledges and things like this. It's so windy. I know it's not relevant. I'm very, like, all the time that you're talking about this, I'm thinking, oh my God, every time there's a gust of wind, I'm like, oh, I hope that they're able to stay in the tree and grip onto the tiny ledges. And more spikes have been put up to stop them being able to take shelter and things like this. I just wanted to say that it's very distracting, the wind.
Yeah, okay. I just because you said this, I just said a story and then I can just not talk anymore and let everybody talk about their own projects and what you're doing. But something about how the bird talk to each other. There is a story. I try to, I didn't prepare it, okay? So if I said something wrong, forgive me. There is this businessman, okay, who lives, I think he lives in Iran. Okay, this is a story by Rumi. Okay, this businessman lives in Iran, but he has like a really beautiful parrot from India. Okay, and then always talking to his parrot and really love this parrot. And one day he's going to India. He asked the parrot, "What do you want me to bring for you?" And the parrot is yes, yes. Can I continue this or you want to talk about this? Okay. So the parrot is actually saying, if you go to see my beloved friend, please tell them that I'm captivated here and tell them all of the story. That's it. And then the person goes to India and do all of this thing, and then oh my gosh, they go to the forest and find the parrot and say, "Oh, my dear parrot said all of these things to tell you." And then the parrot just like looking at this guy, suddenly like this, fall and die. The businessman cry, "Oh my God, what did I do?" And then go anyway, tell this parrot that okay, what happened? This happened. I tell this thing, and the parrot fall. And then the parrot is looking at the guy and just like fall and die. And then the guy said, "Oh my God, my parrot died. What the fuck happened?" So, anyways, take the parrot and just let go, and the parrot just fly and say bye. This is huh? What happened? He said, "Oh, you don't know that parrot actually talked to me and told me what to do. Okay, told me do this, and I learned." So that's how they talk to each other. You know, that I thought that might be interesting about like how the bird can communicate together. Something can even trick us and we don't understand. We think,
Mm.
you know?
Mhm.
Okay. Yes, Daniel.
Um, yes, I wanted to read the comments I put in the chat because I think that they are related to what you were saying.
Oh, sure.
The first comment is, I understood the transition from white light, which cannot be discerned, into a red brightness that has passed through the filter of blackness as the process through which phenomena are rendered intelligible by means of the transcendental structure of knowing consciousness. On a more mundane view, that is also what happens when you put a lamp against your hand or eyelids, and this can be seen as a red brightness. So the
Yeah.
transition from light to redness is the filter of knowing consciousness.
That's exactly similar, you know, you're like coming up with something that is very interesting, you know.
The second comment was that I understand your conception of demons as an analog of Hartmann's aporetic, which are real contradictions, which oblige the subject to adopt different explicative models because this ontology is not flat. So the demons really disrupt one field against the other, and that makes it necessary to adopt different explicative models so as to not to flatten everything into a single model.
This is a little difficult for me to understand. Can you send it in the Discord? I read it.
Yes, I will try to find a good reading. I didn't find it to share it right now, but I will search
what?
for it. On the concept of aporetics in Hartmann, aporetics as demons.
For what are you referencing to?
Hartmann's ontology.
Can
Hartmann's.
you?
I will put it in the chat.
Okay. I just want to say something to you about demons in a specific, because, okay, I said demons is my personal project. I don't want everybody to go work on demons, you know. I said the bird for me is the demon in that thing. But if you're looking for demons in the Suhrawardi thing, is that honestly, they're like I looked and other people say, oh, these are the like when it says 10 موکل 10 موکل put on the falcon to control it at first page or second page or something. When they say موکل, you know, it's honestly I have no idea, but right now, at least in Iran, this word is considered for demons, موکل. You know, the demons that are being controlled by some powerful like witch or sorcerer or something. They call them موکل. And I don't know if in that time they were using the same thing, but those things that capturing this falcon, they can be demons.
Yeah, no, I was understanding this
No, I
more.
know. I know what you said. I told you you need to send that thing in the Discord so I can read it again. Because I know, but I just wanted to mention this also in addition to what you said that those can actually maybe be considered as demons because yeah, that one we need to continue your discussion in the Discord, okay? Because I need to read your comment again, if it's okay.
Yes, and also a later comment, which is also not precisely related, that Deleuze takes Thomson Scotus term for individual irrepeatability, hexatas, from negative theology, in which God can only be talked about in a negative manner by negating that which it is not. But of course, that is a whole different tradition, and I don't want to introduce terms from a distinct tradition to be able to understand the specificity of Sohrawardi's thought.
Yeah, negating that what which is not.
That which God is not, that is negative theology, and the term that Deleuze takes for individuality is hexatas, and that comes from Duns Scotus negative theology.
Oh, you're talking about the fall. Yes. That part. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just confused thinking about whatever. Yes.
Yes, I will try to formulate them in a clearer manner
Yeah.
and put them on Discord.
Yeah.
And
Also can't everybody has something like that in their some kind of move like that, you know, at a point.
And that was it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, if you don't have another question for me, please uh, let me know. Maybe I can set up your Miro board that you can work together. And do you like to work on a Miro board, or maybe you want to work on the Miro board, the posthuman? Can you help me with this? If you want to create a new Miro board for this, or you want to work on the previous Miro board? And also we have a space, virtual space that we can turn it red and fog, and then you can, if you like, you can use it to make something or art or even anything you're writing text. And please,
I prefer a new Miro board.
new is good.
For
Okay.
me, yeah.
But
Okay.
there's
Okay,
already
sure.
one. I suggest we shouldn't spread too far, inventing new place each time, because we have to rebuild at each time. We should just know where and how the things are structured, because we can gain a lot to hold the structure in time, because we can it grows. It's like little gardens, so we should because the mirrors at some points are too heavy, but
Yeah.
we should archive them very well, and also encourage people of coming back into it, so more nature can grow inside them.
What do you think? Because I'm worried that the mirror is too heavy.
It is heavy, but we should when we start anew, we should like make it clear and just
Yeah.
archive the last well, and so
Yeah.
just for like.
I don't think we are done with the last one, okay? But for this one, I think if we make, like, honestly, the last one is still, everybody's still working on their project. It's intelligent collaboration, right?
Yeah.
But this one, I feel like if we go to that one, it gets too heavy, and then you cannot do anything. You just like,
No.
but if in Iran it's not open, like I was in Iran and I was like, oh my God, none of these mirror boards are open. So please be careful, because people are using these mirrors from all around the world. Don't upload too much things. Try to make it right things and create it like more like lights. So it's okay to use anything, but understand that it just also what's the other one? New Art City is same. It just gets suddenly frozen and dies the whole thing.
Oh, the new art cities are too much. We need to clear those. I mean, I'm happy to look at that, but
Yeah.
discipline
Can
file size.
Laura, can you remove everything from that in demon space, except keep your own, if you can make it red, because you made some kind of structure that's moving like this. That looks really nice. But if you can make it red, if it's possible, or make it rotate, so it's like just sometimes being visible, you know?
Oh, the entwined torus.
Yeah. But
I
just
don't.
keep that one and maybe remove everything else, because
That,
they're like
I'm
more,
Sepideh.
yeah.
I'm only Nado, so I don't have access to all the other ones.
Which one you have access? Just stop. Okay, I give you access. If you can help me to, because also you are uh, research assistant, you know? So you're a research assistant, you can help with that section. Also, any
Yeah,
of you.
I
Yeah,
would have new art.
thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yes. No, but it's very straightforward, basically, you know, in general. Yeah.
Delete.
Hide. Oh yeah, delete. Okay, there are two videos. Okay, one is by. Sorry guys, maybe I shouldn't spend the time on this, but there are two videos that it should move to another place. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No worries.
Okay. So what else? Anything else about the program, what we are doing? So basically, each of you can come up with your model and please select the bird, okay? The bird is important because we have to like Suhrawardi's bird is one bird, right? And we have other birds and we don't know when we have the performance I can fly. So that's why we have to leave Suhrawardi but his bird intact and make our own birds, you know. Like imagine like in Atar when all of those birds are flying, they're all thinking about their own personal problems and self-realizations in the personal thing. So that's exactly what we learn from Suhrawardi. Wow, look at Suhrawardi. So we don't want to, of course, we don't want to die or something and get killed. No, we just want to make this project, okay? Uh, but at the same time, it can be serious within our own thing, you know, to think about how we can together work together. It's sort of a, sorry everyone, I'm talking too much. It's good if everybody talk about themselves and their project. Also new residents, welcome. Oh, David?
Yeah, I had a question from the text. I don't know if you are able to answer right now. Otherwise,
Sure. No. Go ahead, because we have time.
um, yeah, I remember. I know that you mentioned that. Yeah, he talks about the different colors, but I was wondering more specifically if there is additional significance behind his choice of like black, like if there's a more symbolic meaning than what is just in the text.
I was uh, imagine you're working with light, okay?
Oh, sorry?
Imagine we are working with light
Mm.
as a element. Like we want to make a project and we are like, okay, we need to specifically like axiomatization, right? You select a few elements to make your thing. Okay, one of them is light, okay? So Suhrawardi. So right now what I'm going to do, I'm gonna get this light and make a circle, okay? Make a circle with this light. So as this light going through these different degrees, because we are dealing with this metaphysical model, they're going to go dark and go up. That's it. You know, while it's in the bottom, it seems all dark, right? But there is one point of this circle is being like this. What do you call momas? Momas? What is momas in English? Like imagine you have a circle and you have a line connecting to the circle. What do you call this point? This is the light point inside of that darkness, right?
Like
There,
overlap or touching, maybe?
Moma,
The
yeah,
Tangent? Yeah,
tangent,
tangent point.
tangent, tangent, tangent. Yes, thank you so much. You know, so imagine it's going to this, it's turning dark. The light is turning dark, and everywhere is dark, but it's still the light. That's the light. So as it's coming down to this degree, because it's going through different degree of density, you understand? We have the dark and we have darkness, you know, I'm just talking about this specific thing. I'm not talking about like what is darkness. No, I'm just making something right now for this. Uh, these darkness have density, has intensity similar to the lightness because you know, but the circle is just mathematics. Imagine this degree of like doesn't matter how much intensity this thing has, this circle can exist, you know? I can draw this circle with this degree. Doesn't matter how much that world is intense and it's attainable and scary and dark and it's burning me. It doesn't matter. I can draw that circle, okay, with the light. And we see what happened to the light. Okay, make sense?
Yes, I was wondering then about the color, like the red. It
So
says,
red basically, so when we agree that in the bottom we have dark, right?
Mm.
We agree in the red. No, the red is the rest of this part, you know, you cannot, and you cannot see the dark everywhere, you know, because you have this combination between, imagine you're in the ocean, right? When like you still see the light coming down and you have some kind of a combination of this. When you have this kind of combination, you have to understand, you have to accept Suhrawardi's presuppositions, you know, we cannot say why he didn't make it purple. It could be purple. Yeah, but right now he explicitly exactly say why he used red and what does it mean to him. That's it. So in this light coming from top, this dark also has a what do you call tabish, like something.
Radiation.
Yeah, something like that. Like the same way that light coming used to have a what is it? You know, whatever happened, turn this thing into red. Also in the sunset, in the sunlight. It's also physically it's explainable, you know, with non-metaphysical that I'm trying to do. But I'm trying to do the metaphysical thing a little bit too much because I want you to understand that this thing is not like a why I say it's heteromorphic, it's not isomorphic, you know? That's why I keep saying, because it's metaphysical, you know? It's not easy to move from this thing to this, to this, to this, to this, you know? You might, yeah, the red might be your blood exploding, you know, if you want to go.
But Sepideh, what do you think about this idea that the red is the easiest color for the human eye to see because it has the longest wavelength, right? So, but that's because of our cones and rods of the human eye. Birds can see many more rods, many more cones, so they may not see the red that, you know, maybe it's like a more intense red or, you know, so.
Oh, that's a very good question. That's a very good question, actually. You can work on that, you know.
I'm working on it.
That's actually a very good question, but at the same time, your question is along to what Suhrawardi is saying, because Suhrawardi already wrote this, you know, and he explained what he means, and I think it's clear. But what you're saying is absolutely valuable question, and I think it's actually it's very important as a post-human question that what does it mean? This kind of color or vision or anything you think you're working on?
Because we have lots of things that are not switched on in the brain. Like we have many rods and cones that we don't activate, but technically they are there. So we could see photons if we had. So we have hardware, but the software is not on. Kind of.
Yes.
Yeah. But there's a kind of interesting dynamic between that what something is called in the color, but there is then this metaphysical. But there's also the idea of mist and things that were like when you watch the sunset or you see dew, if you look at it, you can see that kind of red, yeah.
Yes, this is actually very interesting because it shows that what Suhrawardi is talking about in the like a story, metaphysical story, which is very mathematical, algebraic, at the same time, the reflection is in our life, you know, so it's very interesting, you know. It's kind of it's similar to the like a Platonic thing, you know. It's like capturing a world, like a form that actually can reflect in our not only in our overall cosmology, but also in our personal quest, you know, to free ourselves. Similar because the falcon is still in captivation. And also Zal, or the old guy, the red hair guy, they're all in captivation, you know? So what does it mean? This is like a kind of like a quest for Suhrawardi, and it's just putting it into a question, you know? So yes, all of this is like a Seymour, right? Each of us do some one little thing, and then together maybe we see where we go.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Laura, that's really interesting. I've shared a link about red, and also among cultures that have the fewest color concepts or color categories, red is almost always one that exists first. I
And
just want to
it's one that
sorry.
many don't. Sorry, Isaac, but blue is one that many cultures don't have a word for, so they don't see blue. Yeah, but yeah, thank you for the link. I will look. Thank you.
Yes, I always marvel about the fact that there was no category of blue in ancient Greece, right? Like
Yeah,
in the
that's
Odyssey,
interesting.
there's it's the wine dark sea. It's not blue. There was one thing I wanted to add. Daniel, thank you for the reference to aporia and negative theology. And yeah, it's contributing one more thing to the difficulty in speaking about mystical experience or mystical texts. There's a wonderful reader, so-called apophasis reader, apophasis speaking away as opposed to kataphasis speaking toward. So it's a kind of survey, and there's an essay on negative theology, and I've shared it in the Discord in case it's helpful.
Yes, please share it.
It's there.
Ah,
I just sent it.
Everyone, can you please, before I leave the rest of the session to you and Devin, Evie, Ivan, Laura, who else? Evie. A lot of you wanted to work on the, not, oh, Daniel, that's it. Wanted to work with the residents. I think it's each of you maybe a little bit talk about your project, to introduce yourself, talk about your project, see if you have any interest, a specific interest, you came up with some really interesting idea or not, it doesn't matter. If you have an idea about your bird, but don't take more than 5 minutes, and then maybe you can say which one of the 4 labs you're interested: spirituality, ecology, um, ethics, and agency. Okay, if you can. And then it's like kind of communicating to see how you can connect together and emerge in smaller groups. Okay, and it's very important to participate in Discord and speak to each other. Like, we don't know who is who even. Just please participate and speak to one another. Thank you so much. So I start with Laura. Do you want to start and then call another person's name? Do you think it makes sense to do this? You guys like that? Okay, Laura, start. Can you start and then call someone's name, and each person call another's?
Okay, I will.
Thanks.
I will be very brief. But I will just say I spent quite a lot of time with birds, like de-stringing their feet, bringing them for vet attention, things like this. But so I'm very happy that this came up, and I have been working on a project for quite a long time, thinking about how birds are communicating and why they have come to my life in such a big way. But my project is going to probably stem around something about, so I'm working with pigeons in particular, or to take, so Columba livia, which the so-called feral pigeon, which I hate this term, but anyway, come from rock pigeon, but also pigeons are doves and doves are pigeons, and the dodo was a descendant of the pigeon. So there's lots of ways to think about extinction. So I'm sort of, I don't really know where I'm going with it, apart from I have a theory that where pigeons are cared for, there is more happiness. So I'm working on something like this where there is care, and I have a little bit of evidence for it from just my kind of observations around London, where I live and where I was born and where I grew up. But yeah, so and I'm very interested in how they communicate with one another, because I'm convinced that they have some kind of mind thought process, just in the way that as a group and a flock they come together. So it will be something about this, but I'm not entirely sure where I'm going. And I will now choose Eva. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Eva, you want to continue?
If my sound is working.
We can hear you now that you switched off your screen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, sorry, low bandwidth, and it's stormy here as well. And like Lara, I was thinking about my ravens and crows that live in the trees. They're also a part of my research into the myth in Ireland about triple-headed goddesses that also shapeshift into crows or any creatures they feel like. Actually, it could be a she-wolf or an eel, but these shape-shifting creatures often turned into crows, and perhaps not even just one singular crow, but a flock of crows. And some of my research is taking me to Greek mythology, which has a notion of the Macae that are battlefield sprites, and these were also associated with crows because they would appear after battles and sort of pick at the dead. So the association with crows was somewhat a negative association. And one of the goddesses that I'm looking at, Maca, I'm wondering if there's a typo in there, or if somebody came with later knowledge and sort of overwrote the meaning of the Irish word Maca and sort of connected it to the Greek myth. So I'm kind of looking at noise a little bit in this way, in that myths can be overwritten, confused, or maybe deliberately reconfigured in order to recreate characters of. I suppose what I'm concerned about is when Maca may have been turned from a sovereignty goddess, a goddess of freedom, into a war goddess, a goddess of battle and war, through this sort of typo and maybe deliberate misinterpretation. So that's me and the crows. I'll keep it brief as well.
It sounds really cool.
Thanks, Sarah.
You need to choose someone now. please.
Oh gosh. Let me see. I see Elham. Am I saying your name right? Sorry.
Yes, thank you. And
Thank you.
yeah, it's always difficult to introduce myself. Actually, the reason I attended, my name is Elham Priyamer. I am working on potentiality of learning spaces. Actually, the potentiality of social spaces as as alternative learning spaces. And I've never worked on the birds, but metaphorically, I chose woodpecker. That is somehow close to what I'm doing. I'm working on coffee houses as in learning spaces in different cultures and countries. And because I was working like in the last 3 years, I've been working on Farabi and some other Iranian philosophers. I thought that I'm interested to learn more about Suhrawardi. That was the reason that I attended this workshop. And so, yeah, I'm just trying to connect and read, the Iranian philosophy from different perspective. And when I saw, this kind of post-human workshop and this reading, I found it very interesting. So yeah, I think I should choose someone. Ali Reza.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes. Hi, my name is Ali Reza. I'm a PhD student in theater and performance studies. I live in Kansas. Right now, I'm working on theories of adaptation, like theatrical adaptation from so many other resources or sources. And also, I'm working on with case studying Reza Abdou, an Iranian theater maker. I'm working on the distance between archive and repertoire. And for our project, our workshop, I'm interested in ecology and spirituality. That's it. Thank you. So I should choose someone. Ahmed H, please.
Okay, just one point. Can you everyone turn on your cameras, please? Because it's a small group, just turn on your cameras. If you want, I'm never gonna post this if you don't like. But everybody please turn on camera and who maybe I can say some questions. Anton.
I've talked last time, but I can present the bird that I did for today. It's
No, it's okay. It's a different session. Just please take your time and not too much, but like a
yeah,
5 minutes.
So just maybe allow me to share my screen.
As you're sharing, Anton, Costine has just put a message that she has chosen the Starling but can't talk right now. So.
Okay. So I cannot. Oh, I can. Sorry. So I've been working on the Simurg for quite some time actually. So it's a bit of a cheat. I've been choosing the snowy owl. In French, we call the harfin. It's the national bird of Quebec, and it also sounds like arfan or irfan in Arabic. So it's kind of a nice smell. But that actually works with everything that I've been working in with the posthumans since much time. So it exploits the parallelization of symbolical inference within the story, how we read the story, but then how we interpret the story step by step. So I got a bit of a lore with my own artistic public system, but this lore is actually implemented within the lore that I develop inside the posthuman research. And so with this project, with the Simurg, I'm actually wanting to push the pedal. And so actually really bring forward some kind of a matrixal system that I would like to present to the researcher inside the posthuman research, maybe to do an exhibition, a real exhibition, or also to participate into how we could produce another level of artwork in relation with how we work with multiple participants at the same time. So it's not there yet, but it's in the making. And by that, I mean, I might be able to present you some kind of proposition during the early next year. So the idea would be to forward a new kind of curatorial system. Maybe I can name Isaac, have you spoke?
Well, I'll be happy to introduce the research proposal. Hi, everyone. I'm Isaac Sullivan. I'm here in Dubai, professor at Zayed University. I'm a visual artist. My proposal, which Sepideh, by the way, I welcome you to request any refinement of it. I'm still sort of wrapping my head around the methodologies that we're working with, but very happy to join the conversation. And I've been browsing the website and looking at past projects. Broadly speaking, I'm really interested in taking like a broad sense of ecological thought that deals with complex webs of connection and interdependence and applying that to emerging technologies. I'm collaborating with Ruby. She's part of my collective, which is called Cybernetic Listening. And you probably have met Ruby from the Discord. Ruby is a South African artist. She's currently in Cape Town. And my proposal for the online residency is essentially, I'm going to just kind of speed through and gloss briefly what the proposal is. So essentially, I was commissioned to make a video game by Wonder Cabinet platform in Bethlehem. So I've written this game. It's in beta testing now. It's called Ascension Blacklist. It's a decision tree video game set in the 2070s in a theocratic surveillance state in which the civic duty of observing surveillance footage is synonymous with prayer. I think I don't want to get too far into the lore of the game right now because everyone is speaking pretty briefly. But essentially what I've proposed is to adapt the story of the game into a kind of short film, which incorporates the tropes of video game playthroughs, cinema montages, and video essays, while exploring the game's preoccupations with iconoclasm, surveillance, and so-called artificial general intelligence. And as I was looking through the site before, I was thinking the Posthuman Art Lab would be relevant. However, if we're choosing between spirituality, ecology, ethics, and agency, I would say ecology would be a good direction. In terms of which bird, may I propose that our bird is the Zengurian gate in Western China? Why is that? What I'd really like to do as part of the conversation with the group is to perforate distinctions between the speculative sort of diegetic time of the game and phenomenal time perception in the world by adding closed circuit camera footage, diagrams, and maps to the short film, abstracting and reconfiguring the game's environments and narrative events. And we've already been looking at illusionist and panpsychist responses to David Chalmers' hard problem of consciousness and the ethical implications of these positions in relation to emerging machinic and techno-symbiotic forms of agency. We've been thinking about Catherine Hales's critical engagement with Maturana and Varela's assertion that autopoiesis is a necessary condition for life. And we'd really like to look more closely at distinctions between self-organizing systems, for example, flocking birds, and emergent systems, such as ecosystem dynamics arising from individual species. I can explain the link with the Zungurian gate, and it has to do with geography and the EPIA, the Eurasian Pole of Inaccessibility, in relation to the game's lore, but I'm mindful of the time. So I think I'll just leave it at that for now, and we'll let the conversation unfold within the group. Really interested to hear about everyone's research and continue the conversation. So thank you. And may I call on Daniel?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I personally, right now at this moment, I am working on creative writing, on some editing of creative writing workshops in my city in Mexico, in the not cool part of Mexico. And I also about to start the project for my PhD, which is going to be on the history of mediation or the history of media within the history of ideas or intellectual history. That is an idea developed by Clifford Siskin in System, the Shaping of Modern Knowledge, where he makes a history of the idea of system through the lens of the history of media or media technologies or communicating technologies. And before that, I finished a master thesis on Lukács' concept of reification, which deals with the way in which personal agency is constrained or enhanced by the shape of social objects. How are social objects related to the content of agency of the subjects? And now at this project, in this, I did choose the agency lab. And what has been discussed so far helped me to understand what kind of social object is this study group. And I was trying to develop a bit of an idea that is found in Siskin's book on system, where he tries to depict study groups or to borrow Sepideh's terms, intelligence modeling units as systems. He has a chapter making parallels between interface systems for computation and the study groups, and has a chapter on that. And also what you have all said helps me understand a bit more of how to understand the enhancement or the framing of agency within a social object, such as this in which we are participating. I'm writing on it. I needed to diversify my occupation, so I'm right now I'm dedicating most of my time to that edition writing. But I'm framing the ways in which agency is enhanced by the system of these intelligence modeling units. And that is an idea that is also taken on Clifford Siskin's book on system, and how study groups are systems that define social objects and permit the exercise of agency. That's what I can say at the moment. It's not much, but it's all kind of compressed. And I will choose Biget has already talked. I will choose you to to introduce yourself and talk a bit about your project.
Thank you. So what I'm doing is the reason I want to join is because that Simorgh story, like like elders would tell that story and everything, and I've been playing around with like legends from like that region. I was trying to rewrite, like kind of find a new way of rewriting like Shahmeran or like Simorgh, and to rebuild like the time and the sense of ecology. And I was trying to and what I'm doing is basically trying to make living exoskeletons for like small mechanical robots for beings, and trying to make them move according to their own needs, and kind of implement that inside the story and inside like a physical realm of the story, so that they can decide how the story changes. What I'm usually working at with that possible maybe like a more of a climatic apocalypse, and like how would the world be in that case, and like how would, if I were to be a human that survived, how would my connection be with all these like the symbiotic creatures and the spirituality as well, because I've been like personally I've been on and off with like Sufism and stuff, so I was kind of, because I'm trying to understand that teslimiyet, it's like just letting yourself go, is like what like to be dead in the ocean kind of way, to that impending non-humanness, I guess, and how it can be maybe very comforting as well in a sense. And so Irfan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Irfan. I'm an artist curator based in Tehran, Iran. I'm currently exploring the concept of geophilosophy, and I think Suhrawardi's text is also related to this Deleuzian concept of geophilosophy, as when he wants to talk about the color of red, he refers to the dawn and the dusk, and when the darkness of night and the light of day meet. That sort of uses this sort of planetary examples, to sort of explains this metaphorical concept. So for that matter, my bird would be bearded vulture, or as we call it in Farsi, Homai Saodat. That is this mythological, actually, bird that has all these like associations with nature and luck, and it has recently been observed by some Iranians, actually, and so I want to explore the sort of symbolic gesture of this bird and its relation to the ecology and the climate of Iran, and all these socio-political associations that this bird has. Yeah, that's it. I would choose, I think I'm the last one, right, Sepideh?
So if everybody already introduced themselves, and we can continue we can continue this project in 2 weeks. Does it make sense? Next week we are going to meet with David Rodan. Okay, make sure to come. It's like a Rodan is like a really major good philosopher. Everybody knows mostly here, but for you who are new, sorry, I'm just gonna turn on my camera. This light is so strong. That's fine. Yeah, so yeah, David Rodan next week, and then we can have another meeting. Okay. In that meeting, I want everybody to read a few short papers, plus read the same text. Okay, with understanding that what Shams is saying in a way that they can actually speak, you know, still speak to us in a way that Shams is saying. Let me read his another quote by Shams. When something must be said, even if the whole world stand against me to stop it, I will still say it. Even if 1,000 years pass, those words will reach the only they are meant for. Okay. So there's like that, some kind of like a, I don't know, it's just like the way that time works in this in this thing, you know, like they say something like 1,000 year before for somebody in 1,000 year ahead, you know, and that meant when it says meant for, people are like things, something we don't use, you know. So it's interesting to think about how these people are thinking, you know, these people that we are reading their texts and talking about them. At least Shams. This is by Shams, not Suhrawardi. It's specifically by Shams, Rumi's instructor. Probably everyone knows Shams at times. So that's for one thing. Another thing, I'm reading one more quote, and then yeah, we can end the session after that. Okay, can you see the quote? Can somebody read it? Anton, can you help me to read this?
You want, have you called me to read the quote?
Yeah, it's possible.
Oh, yeah, for sure. As that calligrapher wrote 3 kinds of script, one that only he could read and no one else, another that both he and other could read, and a third that neither he nor anyone else could read. I am that third script speaking words that neither I know nor anyone else.
So yeah, that's something that okay, these are the other ones. And fall into the sea and cannot swim. We did. And
You want me to read? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, when something must be said, even if the whole world stands against me to stop it, I will still say it. Even if 1,000 years pass, these words will reach the one they are meant for. Let's go. When falling to the sea and cannot swim, be dead, so the water may carry you upon its head crest.
Okay, thank you so much. So this was some kind of it's very abstract, you know, so I don't want to say what Shams is saying. It's just I want to leave leave it, leave what Sham says with you, and you have your understanding. But I can post this if you're interested, and also on Discord as a